Live from the podcast rooms in Glasgow, it's all about the Gers with Ricki, Neill, Derek Ferguson and Charlie Miller.
Hello and welcome to All About the Gers. Hello and welcome to All
You're
About the Gers.
having an absolute shocker, by the way. So I'm talking away for about 6 minutes and then we're not even live.
I know. And
you've just realised you've not pressed one of the wee buttons there. I thought you were the kind of technological man. You knew everything about all this.
Well, luckily, WATP has said hit the start button, then I realised we weren't on live.
Bring back Charlie. I think Charlie would be better in that seat.
Do you know,
where is he?
That was probably about the best 6 minutes of the show we've ever had, I know.
Where is Charlie? Where is he?
Charlie's on holiday, right? But see, before we go into that,
you got the sponsors.
I'm going to say thank you to the sponsors
people.
again.
Of course, and so you should.
Sorry. That's brilliant, isn't it?
No. So, very unprofessional.
Very unprofessional. Must have been a wee sticky button or something. I don't know.
But don't even go there.
Sticky buttons. But just want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. We've got SSAFA, the Soldiers, Sailors and Airmen's Families Association, and the Plugged In Business Solutions, Park Construction and Plant Hire, DB Dental Care, Giant Sea Architectural, and you can get all of them on our website, which is allaboutthegers.co.uk. And like I said to Derek about 5 minutes ago, Scott from SSAFA is actually going to come on the show next week after the Old Firm game. Which
is brilliant, but we might not be on the Monday.
It might not be on the Monday.
You're off in your halls as well.
Yep, so it might be the Wednesday.
Which might make sense because I think it'd be better.
Time to sober up.
Well, that's a good one. Well, listen, hopefully, I mean, we've just had a brilliant weekend. You know, a good result. I'm saying, me personally, I've had a great weekend. You know, loved the result on Saturday. Enjoyed the game of football Sunday night as well. Obviously, the Bologna result. But we'll talk about that a wee bit later on. But where is he?
Oh, Charlie
has disappeared.
Disappeared again. So the second week in a row, he's getting a yellow card. No, he's on holiday. So
but he's under the thumb this time. He's away with his good lady, Caroline. So he'll not be out and about, shall we say? He's under the thumb. He'll need to behave himself. You don't mess with it.
A nice wee candlelit dinner by the sea.
That could, by the way, I wonder if Charlie is romantic. He doesn't come across that way, but then that's just when he's about the boys. So it'd be interesting to see what he was like alone with his missus.
He was texting us at 7:30 to see if we'd give him money for a football card. So
he's always looking for something.
Yeah, isn't he?
He's on to plums.
But he'll be back next week, just like the podcast will be back next week as well.
With a tan, he doesn't need a tan. What's the way?
Well, like I said to you earlier on, he actually looks whiter than he is. Maybe because he's away with his wife for 2 weeks. Get a wee fright.
We'll not tell them where he is. It's just in the Costa del Sol, isn't he?
I think so.
He's away there. So, beautiful part of the world, isn't it?
I know. Well, like I said, I can't even believe that happened at the start of the show. We were
talking about Seville and everything.
I know. We were having a good laugh about Seville, so it doesn't actually feel like we can do it again because it was quite natural.
Well, I tell you what, you done well to survive that trip. Kicking about with me for a full week. You know, it must have done you in that.
No, I loved it. I had the best time of my life. Just everything about it. I mean, we were there for 7 days. We stayed in a wee place called Benavice.
I tell you what, that is a beautiful part of the world. I'd never known about it. I tell a lie. Durante had been there.
He loves
it a few times, him and his missus. He always used to say Marbella. I'm going to Marbella, but it's just past Marbella, isn't it? But it's stunning. Just up for the coast, innit? Heading into the mountains. Beautiful place. And Ronnie, who looked after us for that full week, I tell you what, he must have been up to high-do with us.
I know. I don't know how he does it.
I know. I don't know how he does putting up with us.
I know. He says whenever I visit him, it totally mucks up all his steps and all that. He normally does like 27,000 steps a day. He's lucky if he does like 5.
He's right into his walking, isn't he?
But I mean, we could be there again. Well, not in Benavice, but hopefully in another European final.
Listen, fingers crossed. It's a massive week ahead, isn't it? So we've got 2 huge games, haven't they? Absolutely. I mean, but we're getting into them. You know, I think, with a great deal of confidence.
Yeah.
Because that game on Saturday for me, certainly the first half, because that was a worry. Going up to Dingwall, it's a tough place to go. They've been in decent form. They've made some good signings as well. There's a real physicality about Ross County. So that's something that we had to handle on Saturday, and I thought we did it ever so well. Because again, it's a game of 2 halves. First half, I thought we were very good. They kind of changed their shape a little bit, changed personnel, as well. So we had to deal with that. And I thought we did. Wasn't he probably as dominant, maybe as pretty, but we should have been out of sight anyway.
Yeah.
2 goals.
Their keeper was in top form, I thought, but as well, he kept him in.
Well, you can see their keeper was in top form, but I think Dezers has got to be more ruthless. That's for sure. More clinical, because I think he's got 2 great chances. So he has in that first half. He had another great opportunity as well in the second half, but certainly the one that Roof just puts right on.
He wasn't ruthless, was he?
By the way, how good was it to see him? But it was first of all, it was a wee bit of a surprise, Ricki, that he was in the starting lineup. I thought he might have come off the bench, but for what was he on the park for about an hour? I thought he was excellent, and it shows that if we can keep Roof fit, we've got that does feel like a new signing. Right. It's a shame for him, because what must that do to you mentally? With the amount of injuries that he's had. But I think if it was a lesser player, I don't think they would be at the club, Ricki. I think they'd be Oski. But it just shows you what Michael Beale, the manager, thinks of him. He realises what he's got, and if we've got a fit Kemar Roof, we've got a player that will score goals in the Premiership.
I've seen so many people saying that. I mean, he's clinical in front of goals, but see if we could keep him fit.
It's not just in front of, and he is a goal scorer, but it's his lead up play, his link up play. As I say, the one he puts right on the sixpence with Dessers, he's got to score it. I just thought he looked, and it's great to see him have that appetite as well. And took him off after an hour, and I was looking up. I was at the game, and at Dingwall at Ross County's ground, you're quite close to him, and he looks lean, and mean, looks in great nick. So, just fingers crossed that he can stay fit.
Do you know, I seen a stat today, and I'm sure he played in the year we won 55. I'm sure he played in about 30 of the league games. Mm-hmm. So it shows.
It's capable. So sometimes there's certain players you need to kind of look after them. I think Michael Beale will probably it's something that he's going to have to manage other players as well. We look at Ryan didn't start, Ryan Jack, and Saturday. Which again to me was maybe a slight surprise because of the physicality that we were going to be facing against Ross County. But Lundstrom came in, and Lundstrom done a good job, by the way. People have been pretty critical of Lundstrom, but I think he came in, done a really good job. So guys like Jack, like Roof, Suter maybe I say to the same extent with the injuries that he's had over the course of the last 2-3 seasons. Sometimes you've just got to manage them.
Aye. Do you know, I was looking at the starting 11 right for Saturday, and it was Butland, Tavernier, Goldson, Suter, Barisic, Lindstrom, Raskin, Cantwell, Lammers, Roof, and Dessers. And I started to think who out of the 11, who would be in your start in 11 every game?
Cantwell, he's our best player, in my opinion. And a wee shout out for Cantwell because he played in a different role. He's obviously brought Lammers into the side. Lammers did okay in Saturday, but I think you're better with Cantwell further up the park or give him a free role. So Cantwell for me, Raskin, but then there's a kind of dilemma. Cifuentes, is that how you pronounce his name? Cifuentes, whatever. It's a wee kind of toss it up at the coin between him and Jack for me. But again, with Jack's history, picking up injuries, it'd be good if they maybe could spell each other. And again, with Cifuentes, he's just come off a full season, so you've got to kind of be careful with his fitness. So they could maybe kind of spoil each other, and play a part. That would be doing to obviously the manager. But that would be my three. Be that it's certainly Raskin in there. I would go with Cifuentes. He looks a powerful lad as well, and maybe you could go with a Jack in there as well at times. Yeah. But there's others to bring in. Lawrence comes back into the equation as well, which was great. But it certainly Cantwell is. You've got to set him free. You've got to give him the freedom. Let him go where he wants. Certainly a wee bit higher up the park. There's a question mark up top for me, but still with Dessers. I think he put in a shift on Saturday, but you expect it, any Rangers player or any player to give you a shift, but you're looking for that quality.
Do you know, one of the guys this season it's actually turned into a bit of player is Matondo. When he came on again, he's fast and he's good. You know, compared to what he was like last season, he's like a different player as well.
Well, the manager let us know probably one of the reasons why he wasn't quite hitting the heights last season. He was injured. He was struggling with a knee injury. So these are the wee things that sometimes we're no privy, you know, and managers and that and coaches they keep it away from you. So we didn't realise that. He looks fit and healthy, as you can see. Looks a happy chappy as well. Looks as if he's enjoying his football. But certainly, see further up the field, you need pace. Certainly in the modern day game. Yeah. And by God, see when he faces you up 1v1, nobody's they were doubling up on him in the second half as well. The wee boy Turner that had come on for Ross County, as soon as Matondo received the ball, he was straight across to try and help out the fullback. Because 1v1, you're no matching him. And he was unlucky with that strike he had. And it was a fantastic strike.
Do you know, I follow a page on Facebook called Ibrox Noise, and I seen they done a vote. I think it was either yesterday or the other day. And it was, who have you most been impressed with? It was like a vote. You had to poll, you know, and the top 3 players that people have actually voted on was, obviously, first was Cantwell, and then it was, what do you call him, Butland, but then it was Suter. You know, so...
Well, I thought Suter was excellent. Again, he was dragged out. Him and Golson have got a good partnership, but there was a couple of wee instances where he was dragged out into a wider area, 1v1, with the Ross County attacking players, and every time he came out on top. So he did. At times, you know, he had to leave his player. It just taken a sense where the danger was going to be. And done that ever so well. He's a big, powerful lad. I love the fact that he can drive out of defence, you know, and play a pass. It's so important in the modern day game. And I think they've got a good balance, because I love to see that. I love seeing Suter driving forward with the ball, playing the pass, and, you know, and getting a wee overload in the midfield area. And then with Golson, some of his diagonal balls are absolutely top drawer. So there. And when you've got the likes of Tav, and you've got Barisic, who are high up the park. His diagonals, well, on Saturday certainly, they were absolutely spot on. Right. So it's got a nice mix, it's got a nice feel. And Barisic, you have been critical at the back. And I think quite rightly so, Ricki, because he has been poor defensively. But again, he looks somebody that's in a better place. You know, a better frame of mind.
He done an amazing stop at the weekend, like defensively. You know, how we get back there on time and everything. You know, but that's a kind of defensive side that we've been missing for a minute.
Of course, you know, and sometimes it basically comes down to that desire to want to go and hurt yourself, and I mean hurt yourself in terms of get back in there and make that challenge. But also, I think even going forward as well, you see him as soon as. I think that he's been told that as soon as the front 3, who normally play quite narrow, and the ball's fed into them, he's on his bike, he's on the overlap. And it's a hard shift, because he's making 50, 60, 70 yards runs. So that's hard in itself. But he just looks, I don't know, he just looks in a better place, a better frame of mind, better mentally. And that's part of the manager's job. It's not just what you see sometimes on the park, it's working with them off the park and making sure that they're in a good frame of mind, good in a good place.
Do you know, I found out today that Barisic is actually meant to be buying a house. So he must be wanting to stay.
Well, what kind of house?
What is it?
A big house.
Big house,
a big house.
I didn't want to see what it was.
Aye, but that's nice. No, that's nice to hear. So, but no, he just looks, and it's funny, just you look at players, you're talking about Matondo, we're talking about Barisic. They look happy at the minute. They look confident at the minute, which is so important.
You know, we'll come back to the Ross County game now in a minute. It's just a few people are asking questions. In fact, they're firing in. But Michael Beale, he's already hinted that there's going to be 2 more players going out. So obviously one of them is probably Hadji.
Well, Hadji's away.
Aye, so that's
Scott Wright. But it should be another. You would just...
Do you think so? I think he's away.
Aye.
But and possibly one in.
King,
that's what he's saying. Possibly
was Leon King mentioned as one of the players going out?
No, is he?
Right. Well, I've heard that information this afternoon.
Seriously?
Aye. I hope no.
On loan.
Aye, of course. Aye. You're not going to let him go. He's young boy, big future ahead of him. I think he's a good player, real good player. I'd be disappointed, to be honest with you, if that's the case. Him going out on loan.
I mean, he done brilliant in Europe and everything last year.
He was excellent. To step in, at that level, it's hard in itself, but playing for Glasgow Rangers, no, the boy, he's a good player. It's clear to see. He's got pace, he's got power, and he can play the ball. So, no, I would like to see him just...
Because WATP's asking any news on Harry Souttar coming on loan, but from what I've heard, it's a non-starter. I don't even think there's been an approach or anything like that, but from what I've heard, it's been a non-starter.
But quite unusual, that one, to see two brothers.
I just found out today, like, one plays for Australia and one in Scotland.
It's incredible, that, isn't it?
It's nuts,
I didn't even realise that, but I saw a wee bit of him when he was at Stoke City. I know he's at Leicester at the minute. Again, big towering lad, isn't he? He's about, what, I don't know, he's a giant, isn't he? He's about 6'7" or something. I tell you what, if he's as good a football player as his brother,
take him.
Then you take him in a minute. So you would.
So Yanis Hadji, he's away.
I think we Hadji, listen, the boy's a quality player. It's clear to see, but he's been out that long. He must be desperate just to play football. But then the problem he's got, you look who we've got in that midfield area. There's loads of quality. So there is. I think with Tom Lawrence coming back into the frame as well, been fit, and he's had a look at it. They've obviously had a conversation, Hadji, with the manager, and he wants to play. And I get that, absolutely get that. He's a young man, a talented young man. So I think it's a good move, for him to get playing, get games under your belt, because it's hard enough coming back for a serious injury like what she's had, but then can also see that we're talking about again mentally of you, because he'll believe in himself that he should be in that starting 11. So he'll believe he's got the quality to be there. But I think the manager's gone in a different direction with certain players that he's brought in.
He doesn't seem to hold back, the manager, doesn't he? No? When he's got a decision made, he just, because how quick was that? That was only last week he kind of spoke about Hadji. And this week he's out on loan. Obviously, it's the end of the transfer window. But
I would imagine, Ricki, that's a conversation that's been going on for that's not just happened the last week or the last few days. Right. That's been an ongoing conversation over the last 4 or 5, maybe even 6 weeks, since I've been back at pre-season. And the good thing is, you shouldn't be guaranteed a place. And I think that's what maybe Hadji was looking for, looking for a kind of an inclination for the manager that I'm going to be, playing in that starting 11, and with the quality, it's a bit of savvy. Look round about you and see who's there.
Well, he went, and I don't know if you've seen his post on Instagram, but it looks like a farewell message. I don't think he'll be back at Rangers.
Didn't see it. What was the words that were used?
Basically just saying, ends it with like kind of once a Ranger, always a Ranger kind of thing, So, but it's the whole it sounds like he's gone for good, I think.
Well, if that is the case, listen, we'd wish him all the best, because I say he is a talented player, a very talented lad, and I loved every time that he did play. He was one that, although he had that talent, he gave you everything as well. You could see that hunger and that desire. No, I wish him well. What we do.
Well, there's Margot buddy online. I've not seen her for ages. She's saying good evening, guys.
Evening.
Hope you're well. We're going to try a new thing tonight, Derek. Goodness, it's going to go down.
Aye. Well, your previous history of the night, hitting the right buttons.
It's not even good, is it?
No.
I can't believe that happened. That was the best 6 minutes I've ever done on that. But we're going to actually try and do a live phone call to...
Oh, that could be tasty.
A couple of the guys that are over in Eindhoven now. They left this morning at 4 o'clock.
Oh, that could be a mistake.
It could be a big mistake.
How long have they been over there for? They've been over this morning?
I think the flight was at... No, they were getting picked up at 4 o'clock. And then...
by the way. Could you imagine trying to interview us or I talk at this time of night?
Well, look,
right, get them on.
What will we like when we're in? In fact, will we phone them now? Or do you want to keep on? Well, I'll try phoning them now, and you can talk about the Kemar roof goal. Ross County.
Do you know something? That just shows you he's so instinctive, but it just showed you. Even for he's no, I don't know what he stands, but 5'9", 5'10", but he's got a physicality about him as well. But it's just the improvisation. because he sees the corner. It's a great corner and swinging, you know, dipping. Barisic should hit it, wasn't it? But just to wrap your foot, the technique is brilliant because again, he's off balance. It's kind of
there's a fight between him and the defender as well.
That's what I'm saying. So there's the physicality there. There's the instinctiveness, you know, and the technique, you know, to get that in target. And that's what we needed because we were playing well at that time, and that's what we needed. We needed a goal just to settle us down, and I thought it was a terrific goal. So it was.
Do you know, this season I'm starting to sound like Big Stan Gordon, criticising our captain Tav, saying he's too slow and blah 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 blah. But that's probably could be a contender for goal of the season already.
Easy, because I tell you what I would like to see, and which we should get up a montage of all his goals, Tavernier's goals. Think about the goals he scored. I had a brilliant view. I was in the main stand, so I was right behind it. And when he started to travel with the ball, you know, for his own half, and I'm thinking, on you go. But see, when that's probably the hardest technique to do. See, when you're traveling the ball and the ball's getting away from you, and then you want to get a strike off. It's the hardest, but he doesn't go and just put his laces through the ball. He actually has a wee look and he thinks, I'm going to try and put that in the top corner. And he actually places it. So it's a kind of whip and comes across it with the power. And the keeper's already there. Because it's in the top bin, top right-hand corner. It was unbelievable. I tell you what, you could get players out and try that run. Just run for the halfway line. Get to about 22 yards out and try and put it where he put it.
But did you not actually see him? He already ran away to start celebrating before it was in the back of the net.
Because it's funny.
Sometimes you know.
Sometimes you actually know as soon as you hit it. You know, you've got that feeling. Not that I would know. I never scored many goals. But
I've seen yours goal against Aberdeen. That was all right.
Only one goal. But but do you know, see for that technique? Because that's all right if you're hitting it for... See if it's a free kick and you put it in the top bin like that. You can go, they practice that day in, day out. Sometimes if a ball's just kind of laid back to you, like in me shooting drills, you can maybe pick your spot. But I bet you a lot of them don't even practice that. You know, driving with the ball at pace, players putting you under pressure, and then to have the audacity to say, I'm going to put it in the top right-hand corner. I thought it was absolutely marvellous.
It was a peach, right? I think we've got Stevie McDonald from...
Like, fingers crossed,
Fingers
Stevie.
crossed. I think we've got him from Eindhoven. How you doing, Stevie?
Evening, lads. How are you?
How are you?
I'm fucking superb.
No swearing on this show. Aye. You're no Charlie Miller. Behave yourself.
I thought that was only John Leach.
Oh, he is. He's a madman. But
so, when did your trip start this morning, Stevie?
We left at 4:45.
And what's it like?
Still travelling.
What's it like over there now?
It's actually all right. It's no bad.
Is there many?
It's not raining, that's for sure.
Is there many bears there?
No, there's no many there now. No, you'll probably see them all coming tomorrow.
Aye. And what's your thoughts for the game on Wednesday then?
Oh, it's a Rangers victory, obviously.
What score?
2-0. Robbie Matondo's going to score a double.
Stevie, could you kind of just describe and kind of where you are? You know, just to kind of paint a picture for us where you are and what you're
in the square. We're in the square at a bar.
Is there any red lights?
No. You're in the right city for that.
And what's the weather like at the moment? Is it?
It's not bad. It's not bad, Derek.
And when did you?
It's been about 18 degrees, right, 19 degrees.
And I want you to be very honest with me. When did? Well,
I know that sounds like a girl.
Who's that you're with? No, can you tell us when did you consume your first beer today?
You would need to ask Jamie Park about that one.
Right. So, what's your team? What team are you going to line up?
I'm going to go with Butler in goals. It's going to go Robbie Matondo.
Can see what's happening here.
But who's playing in the middle of the park? That's your
Robbie Matondo.
Right. Who's going to partner Matondo in the middle of the park then?
Lundstrom.
Oh, hey, what about Cantwell? Do you not think Cantwell's your best player this season?
Cantwell should be playing further forward.
Yes, but Steve, you just spoke about that earlier. You know, I think he should be allowed that little bit of freedom, you know, to get a wee bit further up the park.
I agree 100%.
Right, Stevie, we're going to let you go and enjoy yourself, all right, and say hello to all the guys. And,
We will do.
All right,
enjoy the show, guys.
Take care, pal.
Take care.
Bye. That wasn't too bad.
Well, they didn't go off to the best of starts.
No, I know.
It's funny how it's sometimes like you're inclined to swear, at times, but when you've got a mic in front of you, you kind of change a wee bit.
Aye, but when you've been drinking since 4 o'clock.
Well, that changes the picture.
Well, mine when we were in Seville, no, your wife had to send me a wee message saying stop doing the videos.
Oh, I know. Because I was smelling like a trooper.
And she was like, mine, Derek's got a job. And I was like, so that. We're fine.
No, it's good to hear that the boys are there enjoying themselves as well.
They're having a good time, I imagine. We're going to obviously talk about Old Firm later on, and we've got Banksy's coming on, Willie Banks coming on to give us a wee thoughts on his Old Firm as well. But like I was saying earlier on, Tom Lawrence, he's back.
Magic. Brilliant news.
I love the kind of things he's saying. You know, he's saying I'm healthy now and I'm in a very good place. That's probably been one of the toughest times of my career, but this club has been great with me and helped me every step of the way. I'm looking forward to repaying them on the pitch now. That's the kind of things you want to hear for a player, isn't it?
I don't think people actually realise how hard it is when you're out with a serious injury for a long time. People go, they're well paid. They're staying in the nice houses, driving the flash cars and that. You know, they don't need to worry, but it does. If you go in, you're getting treatment or you're spending time in the gym, sometimes a lot of time yourself, and then you're seeing the players laughing and joking, looking forward to their training session, heading out. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of weather it is. It's hard, so it is. But you've got obviously no, I wasn't going to say a job to do. You'll have your stuff, your circuits. You need to stick to a certain regime. You need to watch your diet, but a lot of the time you're spending it just you or the physio or the personal trainer, and it's something that's no nice. You're not used to that. You're used to being in the restroom with the 20-odd, 24 boys, and that's initially happens in the morning, but then see when they all just start to disappear and they start to head out onto the grass to play and train, it's a killer.
I mean, one of the probably still to this day the most horrific challenges of a Rangers player was against Durant. Can you remember what it was like when he was going through his?
When I spent a lot of time with Durant when he was injured. You know, away from the park, and sometimes we would go and frequent a few wee places just and at times have a wee beer because it was hard for him. But at that time, I hate to say it, but we thought he might never come back.
No.
We maybe thought that was it. And at that time, when he got that serious injury, I know a lot of other people knew, but Man United, Milan were interested in taking Durant. You know, so it'd been interesting to see if that hadn't have happened, whether he would have been at Rangers. Personally, I don't think so. I think he would have been away down to Manchester.
Aye.
I don't think he would have went abroad. I think he would have been... not that he's didn't want obviously to be a Rangers player, but sometimes these opportunities come up and with the big bucks and it would make sense for the club and him. But I don't think, if he hadn't got that injury, I think Durant would have been a Man United player, to be honest with you.
Did you say he was at Italy as well?
There was a, don't know if it was Inter or AC at that time, but I knew there was interest for the Italians there. So, but what he incurred, you know, because it wasn't just, sometimes when you do your cruciate, you've got your two cruciates, anterior, posterior. He done the two of them, plus his medial and his medial ligaments and his lateral ligaments. So basically, his knee was just exploded. There was nothing. So when these guys, and the injury that I'd only done one cruciate. Guys, that's what normally happens. His whole knee was gone. And for him to come back, you know, and reinvent himself, because he was an absolute machine. So he reinvented himself and became more of a sitting player. He's still got forward, he's still with the quality, but so he had to tweak his game. But that's what quality players do. But how he could handle that
mentally,
and a lot of people don't handle it. But Durante, that's one of his traits. You've been in his company. He's a real live wire, and you need it to be like that positivity. I just think you look at him, he must inspire you. So it does. A wee shout out. I was with the guys down in Denny Orange Halls doing a wee gig. I was with Durante on Saturday night, and Big Marvin Andrews. By the way, there's a guy that inspires you. He told the story about when he'd hurt his knee, how he never even went for the operation.
It's not sin it.
He relied on God. I was like, you're crackers, mate. But that mental strength to play with that knee and and get through that, I don't know how he did it. I tell you what, he looks in marvellous condition.
He does, doesn't he?
Oh my God. I thought he could fight Usyk. I think he could take Usyk.
I think that's what happens when you don't bevy.
By the way, he was having a wee cheeky shandy.
Oh, was he? Right?
I have never saw Marv with a shandy because he doesn't really drink with shandies. It was a weak shandy.
Weak,
but no, it was great to see him. But see, when he was up talking, it was brilliant because he was up, done a wee 15-minute chat, and I was sitting there and it's really inspiring. So I was listening to him. I think he's got that. Sometimes I always talk about the Souness, the guys that have got that aura about him. I think Marvin's got a wee bit of that about him. You feel that because I believe he believes.
You've just got that iconic picture of him down on his knees, looking up in the air, haven't you?
You look at Marvin, Marv, and it's by his own admission. He wasn't the silkiest players, as we know, but what he had, he made the most of it.
He did.
And he's so driven as well. So it's that mentality. I love that.
Aye.
So it was. So I enjoyed the night on Saturday. Billy and Shug, we shout out to the guys that looked after us. But even with that's what I'm saying about Durante, and then with Big Marv as well. Guys that have had bad injuries, serious injuries, and no mumping or moaning, just so positive.
Everybody that is in Eindhoven now, they think they're being funny.
What they giving it?
They're saying, Derek, can you ask Ricki how to get holiday forms accepted as quick as he does? Asking for a friend, because I just told Lounge 72 I'm going to Spain, so I'm not going to be there for the Old Firm this weekend. So, these things happen, all right. But listen, talking Old Firm, because can't believe the time already.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's do you want to? We've actually got another phone call, but we'll talk about Old Firm first, because obviously they get a draw at the weekend, which was a bit of a shock.
They're not in a good place at the moment. Obviously, with their manager coming in, playing a different style of football, so their players are starting to try to get used to that, and we've got to take advantage of that. So I don't think they'll be high in confidence. That's why I was so happy. Certainly with our first half performance, because it's been a slow burn for us. It's been a kind of a mixed bag, but I could see that on Saturday, the improvements. I can see where Michael Beale's starting to go. I can see players that have got that confidence, that belief about them. So they're coming into our back garden. So like any Old Firm, you never know what they might produce, but we've just got to be ready to produce the best for ourselves, because we're getting better, and they'll know, the players all know that, the manager knows that, but it's just that we're playing better now. We've got guys that are in form. We're strong off the bench. Stevie's like that, Matondo, brilliant, because he might not start, but I tell you what, a hell of a player to bring on, because as I say, that pace to burn. So no, I'm really looking forward to it.
I looked at the starting 11 from when we beat them 3-0. Obviously, it's Celtic fans were saying it didn't matter because they'd already won the league, all that kind of thing. But every Old Firm.
Do you believe that?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Of course it does. And if you ask any player themselves, doesn't matter what game it is, whether it's a Rangers Celtic game, right? Doesn't matter if it's a under 15, under 18 reserve game. Every game matters. Aye. So it does.
Do you want to hear the starting lineup?
Go on,
back then. All right, so it was McCrory on goals, Tav, Goldson, Suter, and Yilmaz, Lindstrom, Raskin, Jack, Cantwell, Sakala, and Matondo. Also, some of the players that we have, because over the past couple of weeks, people keep on saying if the players brought in, are they any better than the ones that have left? I think straight away there's a few guys we can fit in there and make us stronger than what we were then.
Well, who is it? Who you think get in there?
Well, Sakala out, Yilmaz as well, you know.
Yilmaz is, listen, we all thought the wee fella was just going to get straight in there, you know, and we were looking at Barisic as maybe kind of exiting the club, but he's found a new lease of life, so he has Barisic, in my opinion. Yilmaz seems to have an issue with his fitness side of it, and even the physicality. There's still questions out there about Yilmaz for me.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Just said to you about Barisic. You've said you gave us an example earlier. I'm getting back, being better defensively. Well, that's what we want to see.
Maybe he's been working on that.
Aye. Well, you should be bloody working on it.
I know.
So
listen, we've got Willie Bank on the phone now.
Right.
How you doing, Willie?
Not bad, mate. Yourself?
Aye, not bad. Thanks for joining us. So, what's your wee point you want to get across about Old Firm?
The main point I've got is right now Celtic are a wounded animal. They're coming to our backyard. So why don't we play two up front and have a right good go at them? Even when Alfie was playing, we was always screaming out to play two up front and have a go at them one time. Their defence is rank rotten. So why don't we just have a right good go and put them in their place on Sunday?
I think we will have a go. You're talking about the two up top. I think we're playing with three up top.
Aye.
I think because it is a narrow, and I think whether he'll play or no, Roof, I thought on Saturday up beside Dezers was getting close to him, so it was kind of like a kind of a front two. Obviously, Lammers just to the right hand side, but no, you see that right for the get go there. They're not in a good place at the moment. Confidence is low. They're coming to our patch, so and just says it earlier. Well, we're a side that are improving. We saw that certainly in the first half on Saturday. And I just think we've got players like the Cantwells. They're asking. I'd like to see Cantwell play further up. I'd maybe take Lammers out that side, put Cantwell further up. I might even start with Roof, to be honest with you. Dezers for me, or Neill, I'm not so sure. Dezers got to be better, got to be more clinical. But I just see in Lundstrom, he's had a bit of flack so far this season. He done well when he came in. Aye. But what I liked about us on Saturday is even in the middle of the park, there's a wee bit of fire. We're quite tenacious, up for the battle. And you've got to have that in an Old Firm game. So, and when you see the goals like Tav produced and that, and Barisic in better form, quality crosses and big Suter and Golson, and at the back with Big Butland, he's just, I know he flapped at one near the end, but I just think he's a guy that exudes confidence. So, no, we're in a good place. We should not fear them. And you're right, Willie. Get at them right for the get-go.
See, Derek, do you think, obviously... on you go, Willie.
I genuinely think that we need to be right going, because if you're a Rangers winger and you're facing up to Ralston and you're facing up to Taylor, surely getting the guys facing their own goals is the way forward, especially Carter Vickers missing. You just want to get ripped right into him for the minute. It's the first minute of the game.
Aye.
And Joe Hart doesn't want the ball at his feet.
Well, that's the thing. Well, I would like to see Hart with the ball at his feet. Honestly.
Aye, exactly.
Because, and again, that's what we talk about. They don't look confident because he's so unsure with the ball. I just think I would leave him, let him have it a couple of times and then pounce and go on him. But you're right, the boys at the back, they're trying to kind of find their feet. And while they're trying to do that, we've got to make the most of it and be making the most of it. And listen, we've got to be in the front foot. The crowd are not going to allow it any other way. That's it. And when the boys go out there, you hear it, but it is true. I've played at Ibrox in front of 50-odd thousand. See, when the fans are at it, honestly, you jump that wee bit higher. Aye. You want to go into the tackles. You run that wee bit quicker. Not that I could run quick right enough, but no, the fans will play their part as well. And even sometimes in there's wee kind of sticky moments, maybe they might have a possession of the ball. That's where the fans have got to keep at it and keep driving the players forward, because it does make a difference. See the adrenaline. Imagine. Now you are in the stands, you are watching. How do you think it feels when you're on the park?
Can't imagine it, honestly.
Crazy.
I'm bad enough the night before and all for them.
So you've got your part to play, Willie. So you have, and you're right. The fans will not allow anything else rather than Rangers being on the front foot, going and pressing them, playing with that high tempo and with the bit of quality that we've got in the Cantwells, Juventus, Raskin, Matondo maybe off the bench, Roof, Dezers. I'm looking for better. I keep saying that. I think we've got more than enough to take care of them.
Right, we Jamesy Loyal. I'll ask both of you this, all right, William. We Jamesy Loyal saying, what's the biggest game, PSV or them? I'll let you go first, Wally.
I think I'll go for Sunday because Europe will take care of itself. If we're good enough to play in the Champions League, that's yet to be seen. I reckon we're a Europa League team, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind the money for Champions League, but you've got to put them in your place, bread and butter, week in, week out, and get the bragging rights at your work, because that's what it's all about.
Derek?
It's hard to argue with that.
It is.
But Wednesday night, we've got that opportunity. They're a top side. You've seen the quality they had, but we've got to, we're not going to have a lot of the ball, but when we get our opportunities, we've got to take them. That's how, when you look at Saturday, the Saturday's game against County should have been a 5-6-0, for sure. So we're not going to get many chances on Wednesday night. And it's a real gauge to where we are, but they've got top players, so they're a real good side. But you just never know. And they've been a wee bit disrespectful towards us. They've been shouting their mouth off a wee bit. Do you need any more motivation as well? So forget about the money side yet. They're kind of having a go at our style of play, which is, I think it's a wee, well, it's not a wee bit unfair. It is unfair, and it's purely disrespectful to them. So I get with a wee bee in your bonnet and get at them. But whether we're going to be good enough, we'll see. But we'll get a go. But I tend to agree what you just says there. Sunday for me, every day of the week.
All right, cheers, Willie. Catch up again soon.
Willie.
Cheers, bud.
All the best.
Cheers, Willie.
Oops, I just got him off there. It says Keith Hamilton's actually saying that Wednesday and a Sunday double pays 15-1.
Oh, aye. So it's a brilliant week. It's brilliant for the players as well and the fans, because it's the games you want, the big games. So listen, I don't think many neutrals out there probably will give us a hope in hell. We will, the fans. We believe in that we've got an opportunity, but it's just we've just got to be clinical. So we have. So I can just see us getting maybe 2 or 3 opportunities. If we do, we need to take every one of them.
Yeah. Right, this is the last one I'm going to bring online, but it's actually one for you, Derek. It's from Hugster0809. This podcast makes my Monday night. My first cup final was watching Derek and the Gers beat Celtic 2-1 at Hampden when Coop scored the winner with a penalty. Happy days. And
that's probably one of the happiest memories. Aye, because I remember when we got the penalty kick and Coop placed the ball. I knew it was in the back of the net anyway, but when he'd scored, I went over and I'm trying to think who had held him up. And somebody showed me a pic of it, and Coop just grabbing my head, and I'm looking, I'm going, it's my hero, man. That's how I wanted to. I wanted to be like Davy Cooper, and then I'm in a cup final, winning a cup final. He scores a winning goal, and there's my hero getting as a cuddle. Doesn't get any better than that.
Many would have been at Hampden that day.
Oh God, I don't know, but 80,000 or something like that. Aye, it was something like that. But again, that's, and you want to be, and it was, the best thing was, it was only about 2-3 minutes to go, I'm sure.
Aye.
So it was, we knew that when the ball is in the back of the net, we've won, and it's an amazing feeling.
How did you celebrate that night?
We celebrated for about 2 weeks, and that was probably my problem. That's none of that 1 or 2 nights. We went for it, so we did. And then I'm playing there that game as well with Gianni. So it wasn't just teammates; they were pals
as well.
We socialised all the time. Wee bit different in the modern day game. Can't really do that, but that's one thing that we did. We all partied together. We all enjoyed each other's company, and I think that's dead important, isn't it?
It is, socialising and work hard and play hard.
I keep saying that to my missus.
Tell me about it. But that's us came to the end of the podcast already. Just the 2 years, and obviously thank you to Stevie and Wally Banks. They were a good addition, and we'll maybe try that every so often, get a couple of the fans on. And
by the way, why don't you? I think it's about the fans, but it's about the punters, and they tell you the way it is. Yeah. We try and do that, but sometimes, and that's, see when you listen to Wally when he come on there, I thought he was absolutely spot on in his
know.
assessment and how to go about it, and really honest about what's the game that matters. Of course, we want Wednesday, we want Champions League, but it's nothing better than beating them.
Aye, that's it. Well, I'm afraid that's the end of the show, but we will be back next week. I think it's probably going to be Wednesday, but we'll keep you in touch with social media. But once again, I would just like to say thank you for watching us. Make sure you share our podcast and get loads of people liking us so we get more viewers and all that kind of stuff. Right, but also thank you to our sponsors. We've got SSAFA, they're the Armed Forces charity, Soldiers, Sailors at Airmen's Families Association, and what Scott from SSAFA is going to be on next week as well, telling us a bit more about SSAFA. We've got Plugged In Business IT Solutions, Park Construction and Plant Hire, DB Dental Care, and J&C Architectural. You can get all of them on our website, which is allaboutthegers.co.uk. But we'll see you all next week. Take care.
Have a good week, guys. Ha!